Hello and welcome to Reality TV News Update, where you'll find the most recent news, entertaining moments, and exclusive behind-the-scenes content. On the high-stakes reality show, contestants are required to follow these rules, which range from Survivor School to guidelines regarding attire. Even though the Survivor 50 cast members are familiar with the game, they must still follow the rules in order to win the $1 million prize. The CBS competition series returned in February 2026 with a record 24 returning players, the show's largest ever cast. The contestants include everyone from Season 1's Jenna Lewis-Doherty, who was eliminated during the Season 50 premiere, to the show's most recent winner, Savannah Louie. Survivor executive producer and host Jeff Probst, in addition to executive producers Matt Van Wageningen, Kahia Pearson, and Jesse Jensen, previously gave people an exclusive rundown of rules contestants must abide by as they strive to outwit, outplay, and outlast each other in an attempt to claim the coveted Sole Survivor title. People has laid out everything you need to know about this season, from the clothes the castaways wear to the personal hygiene items they can bring, spoiler alert, toilet paper is not allowed, to the Survivor School the players must attend before filming begins. Whether you're a Survivor superfan or a newcomer to the show, here's everything to know about the unique rules contestants must follow. Submitting a video is the only way to be cast. Interested in competing on Survivor? For your chance to be considered, you can sign up on the CBS casting site right now. However, the production team stated that anyone who applies to be on Survivor has to first send us a video. It's just the easiest way for the casting team to see their personality and the things they want us to know about them, they added. Then, if there is interest on our end, one of our casting producers would reach out to them and begin the formal process. Once cast, players must sign a contract. A contract must be signed by all participants before filming can begin. Contestants don't have to sign anything to apply, but there is a contract they have to sign if they end up on the show, the producers revealed to People. There is no upper age limit, only a minimum age requirement. While there's a minimum age requirement of 16 years old, there's no maximum age limit. In fact, Season 1's Rudy Boesch competed at 72 years old in 2000, and then again for Survivor All-Stars at age 75. Sadly, we don't get enough older people applying to be on Survivor, the production team admitted. It takes a lot of courage to take on this adventure, and it's definitely not easy, but I wish more people over 50 would apply. It's such a great test to see what you're capable of achieving. Players must be in good physical shape. You just have to be able to handle living in a real jungle and be agile enough to handle the various elements you see in challenges, the producers stated. There isn't a formal checklist of physical requirements in order to be on Survivor. They went on to say, our challenges are designed to test but still be achievable by a wide range of people. They said, when it comes to the ocean, you don't have to be a great swimmer. However, you do need to know the fundamentals to make sure you won't get in trouble if you go spearfishing. The producers added, if anyone has a past injury or a specific physical condition that could be an issue, we always talk to their doctors and get them cleared to play the game. We take the health and safety of the players very seriously and would never put someone on the show that we did not believe was fully capable of lasting the entire time. All players must attend Survivor School. The production team explained that Survivor School provides contestants with a briefing of the tasks and demands they'll face prior to filming. This was conducted by one of the show's most experienced producers. They show the players things like how to build a basic shelter, make a fire, how to keep clean, which nuts are okay to eat, which plants are poisonous, and just general jungle safety. They emphasized that it's only a basic overview, in reference to the reason why you still see so many players struggling in all of these categories, despite the fact that this may appear to be an advantage for the players. They continued, "It's one thing to be shown how to do it, it's another to go do it yourself." Players can't skip 2 challenges at the same time. During season 45, Probst announced a new rule to the castaways that had been created after season 44 contestant Claire Rafson chose to sit out of 3 challenges in a row. Sit-outs would no longer reset after each tribal council. Players can no longer skip 2 challenges at once. The host explained in a 2023 episode of his podcast On Fire with Jeff Probst, this was the first hint that the new rule would be in effect. In the old days of Survivor, we used to have 2 challenges in most episodes, Probst continued. This was designed to make the tribe figure out where do you want your weak player. Is it the reward where you might get food or immunity where you get protection? Because we sometimes only have 1 challenge in this newer era, the rule doesn't have the same impact, and Claire was able to skip several challenges. Before filming can begin, the attire of the actors must be approved. When you're stranded on an island with limited resources, clothing quickly becomes one of the most important items contestants have for survival, and to no surprise, it's also in the hands of the producers. There isn't a science to making it perfectly balanced between all players, but after 21 years, we've gotten pretty good at it, the producers admitted. In addition to determining how much clothing each contestant can bring, the contestant's wardrobe must reflect their individuality. Do you remember the suit worn by lawyer Nick Wilson in season 37? We want to see your personality and/or your profession in your clothing, the producers team said. We always work with the player to make sure they're happy with their choices, and we always endeavor to make sure that each player has the same amount of coverage and warmth, and we would also ensure that they had some kind of sweatshirt for warmth at night if someone wanted to wear shorts instead of jeans. Players aren't allowed to wear the same color shirts. The creators revealed that they ask them to send us a bunch of ideas that reflect who they are in their normal life, noting that we don't want everyone sending in generic adventure wear, as there would be no way to differentiate the players. This was done in order to ensure distinct looks and avoid similarity. They continued, I must say that 90% of the players are very adaptable to the wardrobe process, and we work with them to ensure that they're also happy. It's a sign to us that someone may not be quite ready for the show if they push back too hard on their wardrobe, because if the color of your shirt is that important, you're probably not ready for the jungle. Personal hygiene tools are prohibited. Toothbrushes, toilet paper, soap, and other personal hygiene items must be left at home, which is unfortunate for players. The producers stated certain items are allowed, such as contacts, feminine products, and specific approved medications. We also give them a daily multivitamin, but nothing in the way of personal hygiene. Tribes are not allowed to visit other tribes. Probst stated that tribes are not allowed to interact with opposing tribes unless it's part of our overall creative direction for the season. But he ensured that there isn't much room for this rule to be breached, as tribes typically live on different islands. He even recalls that great moments have happened between opposing players either before, during, or after a challenge, specifically with Boston Rob and Amber Marino in Survivor All-Stars in 2003. Boston Rob wanted to protect Amber from being voted out of her new tribe, so he made a fast, secret deal with Lex at the end of a challenge. It worked. Lex saved Amber. Rob then voted Lex out in typical Survivor fashion. Amber won the following season. Rob and Amber tied the knot and now have 4
Stealing is prohibited,
beautiful
but searching is allowed. As is to be expected, it is against the rules to steal from other players. However, if a player has reason to believe that another player has a secret advantage or idol, they can look through their belongings to see for themselves. Probst stated, "It's not something you might do in your normal life, but this is Survivor, where for the most part, anything goes." What is not allowed is stealing any kind of immunity idol or advantage, so if you discover something valuable in another player's bag, you can use that information to your advantage, but you can't take the item. Environmental regulations must be followed by players. Survivor has been filmed in numerous remote locations all over the world for more than 2 decades, including Malaysia, Kenya, Australia, Fiji, and more. Production is briefed with country-specific guidelines to prevent environmental disruption. The production team explained, "Each country has specific environmental rules that we always abide by, and when necessary, we advise the players what is allowed and what isn't, but it's never anything that prohibits them from building a shelter or fishing or things of that nature." It is not allowed for production to provide players with supplies. Every stick and bamboo shoot collected in the process of shelter building is gathered by the players themselves without any assistance from the Survivor crew. The production does not provide any additional supplies to the players. Nothing at all, Probst emphasized. On Survivor, what you see is what you get. There is no assistance. Players are required to use the environment as a restroom. On Survivor, there are no restrooms. Sorry for you. With a playful admission, Probst, "You can choose between the ocean and the jungle. Keep in mind that there is no paper towel. Aqua dumps, as the players refer to them, which take place in the ocean, are quite popular," he goes on to say. "Before making a commitment, you should only confirm whether you are downstream or upstream. Players must receive medical checkups throughout the game. A few bumps, bruises, and scratches are to be expected when players are given limited resources and must rely solely on the land to survive. However, CBS still makes it a priority to ensure the safety of each player, which is why they conduct regular medical examinations at challenges and tribal council." Probst stated, "We immediately send our medical team to check on them if a player has an injury or is sick. I also get involved if the situation is serious enough that they might have to leave the game. Those decisions are made with the utmost care. If our doctors believe that a player's health is in real and immediate danger, we will never remove them from the game. It is forbidden for players to bring food rewards back to camp. One of the greatest prizes starving players can receive after a challenge is a food reward, often consisting of pizza, salads, desserts, alcohol, burgers, and more for the contestants to feast on after winning, a huge upgrade from the typical ration of rice." Probst stated, "Food rewards must be consumed where they are served and in a certain amount of time. We don't let players bring food back to camp. The same guidelines apply to camp-based rewards. They must be completed within a certain amount of time before the reward is considered complete. Players are not permitted to interact with the cast or crew. The contestants are aware that they are not allowed to speak with the crew unless they are speaking with a producer during their interviews or the host at challenges and tribal council." Probst explained, "The reason for this is because we want their experience to be pure. The better is less involvement from production." He went on to say, "It's hard on our crew because they're human and want to be polite to the players, but we've done it this way since the first day of Season 1 and it works, so we stick with it." So yes, that means if a player asked a question to one of our crew, they would most likely be met with an awkward silence. Players must strategize when searching for an idol, especially with the camera crew following them. If a player wants to be discreet while searching for an idol, they aren't allowed to tell the camera crew not to follow them. Probst explained, "This is one of the most exciting parts of how the show works. The players are in charge. Each player does what they want, when they want, how they want, but it's up to the player how they pull it off." Regarding the strategizing that takes place, he stated, "We follow everybody all the time, which means you can't read anything into it, but you also can't take it for granted. It's just one more layer of paranoia that players have to deal with." Players must agree to be filmed at all times. Players agree to no expectations of privacy when they sign their contract before filming, meaning that players understand that we are filming them every minute of every day they are on the show. But it certainly doesn't mean you can't ever have privacy, you just have to go about it in a specific way. For example, we tell players that if you want to use the restroom, just go alone and we will not film you, so you can have privacy. The same thing goes for changing clothes. There is an understanding that if someone is seeking privacy to change their clothes, they are to be granted that privacy by production and also the other players. Players must abide by food safety guidelines before consuming. Aside from the rice rations that the castaways are, sometimes, given, they have to fend for themselves when it comes to food. That means spearfishing, collecting fruits of the land, and more. I think it's worth reminding that Survivor is designed to test players but not trick them, Probst said. We want them to be aware of all the options they have, and we always want them to be safe. Players need to tell the producers the truth. During a November 2024 episode of On Fire with Jeff Probst, the host shared that the only people the players are required to be honest with are the show's producers. He explained, "Here's how it works. You have to answer the questions in your private interviews with the producer because that's how we tell the story, and you have to tell the producer the truth. That's the only person you have to tell the truth. If not, all bets are off, even when it comes to responding to questions that Probst himself poses to them when he talks to them during challenges or tribals. You can lie directly to me. I might not even know you're lying. I don't even care. I just want any story to track. True or false is your call, and as long as that's happening, we're all good." Players are advised to reach out to CBS if they need counseling post-production. Survivor is a mental as well as a physical game that really puts players to the test throughout the duration of the game. CBS is committed to ensuring participants receive care and offers aid from psychologists in the casting process and again immediately after the game. Our commitment to them begins in the casting process when the players get to know our show psychologists, the producers said. It continues after they are voted out because our psychologists are on the ground and available as soon as you leave the game, the statement reads. They added, "Then when players return home and as the show airs, our psychologists continue to check in with the players on a regular basis. We provide a concluding session following the finale and encourage them to contact us at any time if they require additional counseling. Players are not allowed to go home as soon as they're voted off. Players who are eliminated by a vote spend the remainder of their time at Ponderosa, a private camp inhabited by Survivor crew members, show psychologists, and an entire staff. It's fully staffed so they can eat whatever they want, whenever they want. They can shower, sleep as late as they want, watch movies, read books," explained Probst. "We really try to make it as pleasant and enjoyable as possible." Players are not allowed to keep unused idols anymore. While players used to be allowed to keep idols and advantages if they were voted off without putting them into play, this is no longer allowed, even though they made for one-of-a-kind keepsakes. Probst stated, "We took them back and kept them a few years ago because we realized that we might want to use those idols again in the future for one of our creative ideas. I recognize how harsh it sounds. However, on Survivor, ideas are everything, and we prefer as many options as possible."